Good afternoon, everyone. Chris Berryman here, coalition builder and founder of Bring Humanity Together. Welcome to another great, engaging conversation with all of you today. It's going to be a great conversation yet again. We're going to end up having an awesome time today. So we're just going to just bang it out like it's 1999, and we're going to end up just really getting in depth and in scope of our Bringing Humanity Together live event. The questions we'll be asking today, and probably many more, is the questions literally of the very um, call today. What has been some of the greatest act of kindness that you have seen, and who has in your life inspired you to show some great act of kindness yourself? And that's what we'll be talking about today. And the reason why I got on a little bit early, they kind of go over the parameters of the way this live stream will work for everyone who's either watching live or who's going to be coming on later in the show, who might just be popping in and then say, hey, maybe I can join in a little bit later. The way this is going to work is that we have 6 seats available, and that's, of course, including me. So the way that we're going to end up doing this is the link is already in the description of today's call, whether you're watching on YouTube and on our LinkedIn page, which is my page. The link is already there. So if you are wanting to join the call, I'm going to put it right here so everyone can see it and you guys can join in because I truly believe you guys are going to be really excited to be a part of this uh, conversation today. So, like I said, what we'll do is we'll do everything in a rotation. So, depending how long people can be able to stay, you just got to let me know, and we'll get you in. I believe I even said not only in the LinkedIn event page, say yes, I'm in, or count me in when you're watching live, and then we'll get you on up here. And for those who are watching but just like to sit back and relax and that kind of thing, you can comment in live time and everything. And of course, here's the link to join the call. You just go click that link, and this is showing up on our YouTube channel, but this is the link that you will go to. It's already there on our LinkedIn page, which is my personal page. So it's right there. So that link is there. So if you want to end up wanting to be there, please let us know. We'll add you to the call. And one of my great friends is going to be joining us. Hello, Tom.
What's up, dude?
How are you doing today on Fantastic Friday?
Can you hear me fine?
You're good.
Cool. Good. Yeah, I'm good. Ready to chat it up a bit.
So, how was your week going, sir?
Okay, just doing the dirty work to get to the better work, and sending out some invoices this afternoon. That's always good, right?
Uh-huh.
And my daughter and her girlfriends from college are descending on us this weekend. So they said, can we have the house while you and mom leave? Right.
It's gonna be a house party now, Tom. You gotta be
Yeah, I
aware
mean,
of
it's
that.
going to be 9 girls. They're all turning 30. So it's like their big birthday for each other, a birthday party.
Yeah.
And honestly, she said, okay, they're going to be there like 4, so you have to leave by 3. It's just like she really doesn't want us here.
Wow.
But it's cool. It'd be good to have her here and come visit, and she'll be with all her girlfriends from college. And we're kind of halfway anyway, so it's perfect for them. And so this afternoon, I got to go out and cut the grass so I can look like a good homeowner.
Yeah.
You know?
That's
Yeah.
good to know. Good to know. And for those who are watching on LinkedIn, for some odd reason or another, it's not going to hit until 1 o'clock. Why that is, I don't know. But we'll end up um, having the replay, the full, I guess, extra 15 minutes on our YouTube channel, so you won't miss out on a thing. So no worries there. But Tom, like I said, what you have done with our community has been so inspiring and so just pivotal in so many different ways. And this is the one conversation that you have uh, brought up each and every single day for a long time now. And yes, I'll put all that information in our live stream here in just a second.
Mhm.
Is that uh, sometimes we can see some of the greatest acts of kindness, and maybe we just got to ask ourselves, number one, who are those very people that we can actually have an impact on, but number two, who has actually inspired you to create that act of kindness and be very intentional, be very inspirational with it, and create impact. So, Tom, I want to dive deep into this because, like I said, you're the person who's actually inspired this conversation yet again today. And let's get into it and see how we can transform people by maybe that simple act of kindness.
First of all, are you fully live now? I thought that wasn't starting
Well, yeah,
until.
you were fully live on YouTube, but we'll be on LinkedIn in about 9 minutes.
Okay, so if you want to revisit it or you feel like you need to revisit it after one, then that's fine too, because I'll
Yeah, we
probably,
can do that. Yeah, we can do that.
like a second take, I'll probably say it better. you know,
Yeah.
um, when I first brought it up to you, my thinking was that we have so many acts of kindness that happen in front of us every day, every day, everywhere. You just don't see it if you're not looking for it. So my thing was all about, you know, calm yourself, enjoy the experience of whatever it is you're doing. If you're supermarket shopping, if you're playing in your yard, whatever it is, taking a walk in your neighborhood, keep your eyes and ears peeled for what's going on around you. And you will see extraordinary acts of kindness that just take no effort. They're just simple, simple things. And when you see that, you feel good. Oh, isn't that nice, right? That's
Yeah.
that's so great that they did that, right? And then you feel like being that way yourself, and then it multiplies and it multiplies. If you just have your eyes and ears open to see or hear something special that went on. For example, I got a few examples for you, and one of them is just that I got the experience and from my parents, and the fact that I had a incredibly awesome family and a great church parish, and it's just the right way to behaviors. How do you behave amongst each other, right? And so here we are, many, many, many years later, and I'm working from my home office, and I see outside my window an elderly couple taking a walk, and they had to be in their late 70s or even 80s, right? The woman falls. She has a fall, and I see the fall across the street, and she can't get up. And her husband is with her, and he tries to pick her up to help her get up, and he falls. So I run out and I go across the street. Not only are they both on the ground and they can't get up, but they're both bloody. I mean, really bloody in the elbows and arms because, you see when you get to be that old, your skin gets so thin, you can cut it, rip it. So there I am, left arm and right arm, nursing these people down the street to another 3 or 4 houses down the street and into their home to help them. And, it was a simple thing. I was just really glad that I was there in that given moment to help them and to not only just help them get up, but to walk them home and get them in their house and try to find, wet cloth or some way of helping them. Right. And then they gave me their phone number of their son who lived nearby so I could call him and say, hey, listen, this is who I am. I helped up your parents. They're both, in trouble. I can hang if you want me to. And they wouldn't let me stay. But, that's an act of kindness only because I was raised that way to see that, I say, oh, somebody needs help, you know? And then you see so many of the other ones, that if you think about it, people who put on their license that I'm an organ donor, that's an extraordinary act of kindness. I had a brother who, benefited from someone else's liver. A 19-year-old died in a car accident and he got her liver. That's an extraordinary act of kindness on the part of the donor and the family members, right? There's others, for example, you've seen this in video clips a lot where someone is about to undergo chemotherapy for cancer and they're in a salon or a barbershop and they're going to get their hair shaved. And then all of a sudden you see the barber shave his hair or her hair too, like an act of, togetherness. And you'll see like the two or three other people in the salon, like shave their heads. That is so selfless and so, so kind, right? And that's human. That is human. We are talking about acts of kindness as a way of demonstrating how we can be as a humanity, right? And how we are, the more selfless you can become, the stronger we all will be. Because when you're selfless, that means your first thoughts are outward to somebody else, less about yourself, right? There's so many examples. I kind of wrote down, there was an example, a talk that I gave on extraordinary customer service, and I used examples, right? And one of them was on Southwest Airlines, where they're known for their customer service, really being, focused on their customers. And this was a case where a family put their little girl on the airplane. They weren't going anywhere, but they put the little girl on the airplane to fly to Florida to another family member. And it turns out that the pilot, they told the pilot and the, attendants, and it turns out she had never been on an airplane before, and she's going without mom and dad. How about that? And so the co-pilot decided, those seats halfway by the door, and they ask people, would you volunteer to take one of those seats? There's always more room. Well, he decided to fly the entire flight seated with her and read books with her, talk about where you're going, talk about your family. He passed the entire flight, start to finish, seated with her and talking. And then at the end, when they're starting to come in before landing, the attendants get on the speaker. He got on the speaker and he said, ladies and gentlemen, we just had the most amazing flight. Little Annie, I don't remember what her name was, just had her very, very first flight on an airplane. Let's give her a hand. And the entire airplane clapped for her. Do you think that made the concept of flying exciting and enjoyable for her for the rest of her life? Right? And he took away all the anxiety and cared for her instead of sitting in the cockpit doing what he needed to do. Right? So extraordinary acts of kindness. They're happening around us all day, every day. It's just that, if you got that question asked to you and you can't think of any in front of you, you're not looking.
Right.
And when you look, you see them. I was in the supermarket. I'm never in a supermarket. My wife does all the shopping, and I'm rarely there. And I was there a couple of weeks ago, just late at night, to pick up a box of popsicles, right?
Yeah.
And there was an older guy. He was probably in his, maybe 80. And he went to the self-checkout to check out a full bag of stuff that he got. And then it turns out his card was expired. And he was not only embarrassed, but he was, I don't know what to do. What do I do? I don't know what to do, right? And the person next to him, because they had like multiple self-checkouts, with the scanners, paid for him.
Wow.
Yeah, we've seen that. And we've seen it on video clips on YouTube. But I actually now saw it. I saw it happen.
Yeah.
And I'm not even the one that did it for him, right? But I felt really good. Like, that's what's going on, right? So they're around us and they become infectious. When you see them and you hear, like I said, if you look and you listen for, then you witness it. And when you witness it, you can't help but feel good, right? And there's millions of them. Helping a lady across the street by stopping traffic. you can't help but feel good, and you want to do it too. Like, I want to be like Mike, you can't help but want to do that yourself. And so they become positively infectious. And wouldn't that be awesome if we just focused on that more?
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Absolutely. So the question then becomes then, Tom, and we'll be going live on LinkedIn here in just a couple of minutes,
Mhm.
is why do we say a random act of kindness is actually random? Why do we get that in our heads when I truly believe, and this is my thinking, is that it's really intentional because, like you said, when someone sees that opportunity, whether it be at the self checkout, the barber shaving the head, whatever that might be, that creates an opportunity to leave a lasting impression on not only the person you're doing it for, but also those around them.
Yeah, you mentioned intention, and I might intend if I witness an act of kindness, right? I go, oh, that's awesome. I'd love to do that someday. So now it's in my head as an intention, and I don't do it until it randomly presents the opportunity a day later, a week later, a month later, like at random. Oh, there's my opportunity to do that, right?
Yeah.
In that sense, it's random. It's more random for the person that you give it to or perform it for, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yours might be intentional. It's really random to them, right? And sometimes it can be even kind of like fun because I remember pulling into a Dunkin' Donuts, and there were two ways to come into the drive-through, and the line. I could have gone around to get the bottom of the line, but where I was sitting was almost blocking traffic. So I just nudged a little bit, and the guy over on the other edge starts giving me the bird and yelling at me and beeping at me like I'm going to cut in. And I wasn't intending on cutting in. I just wanted to get out of traffic, right? So he's all irate at me. And I end up getting in front of him in the line just because the way, you alternate. And I paid for his coffee. And it's almost like I know I did something good. I paid for his coffee. I was glad it wasn't a huge load of food, right? But then it's almost like, okay, now eat your words because you flipped me off, you know. And but it doesn't matter because I was just simply trying to say, hey, dude, I didn't mean to cut in, and you know what? Whatever it is you're getting, I'm buying for you. You know. Now there's a woman that I know well, and she has a business. It's a non-for-profit. It's a national non-for-profit, and it's called One Simple Wish. It's not grant a wish, and it's One Simple Wish. And she started this business to come to the aid of foster children and people in need who don't, they might have a home, they might have parents, they might be foster parents, but she created a website that enables kids and family members of kids who are in need because they don't have much to work with, right? Who simply want a toy for Christmas, or they want that laptop because they're about to go to high school, or they want, so there's a huge universe of listings in their website. And it's Johnny who said, I'd love to have a baseball mitt and I can't afford one, or and literally, so the wish is coming from the child of what it is they're wishing for. And it's not just someone who wants things because there's a website where I could say I want this thing. It's they truly are in need, and they're not able to have as easily the things that the rest of us, can attain. It's called One Simple Wish, and 100% of the dollars, other than the operating costs of the operation, go back to foster care and to the kids and their families. So she was a CNN Woman of the Year, and you want to talk about setting up a real operation that is about humanity. Like, she is really, really affecting the happiness and the lives of thousands and thousands of people. And so to meet her, she oozes passion. She just absolutely oozes passion, selflessly. right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I couldn't help but think of that, when we were talking about this. I guess we're
Well,
fully now.
yeah, well, I really love the take that you have said about selflessness, because I'm a big believer, Tom, that and this is just my way of doing things in and of itself. I
Hmm.
want to be so selfish for others to become more unselfish for myself. And the reason why
Hmm.
that I say it in that kind of language, because not only is it intentional, but I truly believe it's very inspirational and also will create impact. Because I truly believe sometimes the greatest acts that we can do, whether to be for ourselves or for others, is number one, we get out of our own way. We just do it when we see it because we know it's probably the right thing to do, and we can do that in a way that it creates that sense of community that's based in unity, and people can rally behind that. It's just like it's I remember years and years and years ago, the big nonprofit organization Make a Wish
Yep.
came about,
Yep.
and that community of people has that mission to make that wish happen.
Yeah.
How do they do that? They see the opportunity. They say, come to hell high water, we're going to make this work, and we will do that. Now granted, it's more geared to kids and probably people with special needs and all that kind of stuff,
Yeah.
but when you really think about it, Tom, we can make that wish and we can grant that wish even if it's coming from us when we allow that to occur.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, you have to applaud those kinds of organizations because they're recognizing people that are in true need. Um, Make a Wish leans more into people with very dramatic handicaps or even illness, and then maybe even their days are numbered, right? And they want an experience. And One Simple Wish is, in some ways, is very similar, but it's geared towards families and children wanting to post on the website, could you grant this kid $100? Or it's literally it's a retail site where with your credit card you grant the wish, right? And it's extraordinarily grown across borders. And she became a CNN Woman of the Year for that mission. You know, and so when you know people like that and you meet people like that and you feel their selflessness and their care and their passion, it can't help but rub off on you. Like, isn't that incredible? Geez, I wish I had that in me. And then lo and behold, you realize you do have it in you. So I just wish we had more, bringing humanity together as a group has an opportunity for us to one by one by one by one grow that mentality so that we're all better to each other. And, when, like I said, if you just breathe, you keep your eyes and ears peeled, you'll see more and more of it around you. It's like if you say yellow Volkswagen, I
Yep.
swear to God, by tomorrow you're going to see two or three yellow Volkswagen. It happens, It's your mind just sees those things, right? I want to say, $1 million lottery winner, you know. But when the more you see it and the more you hear it and experience it, you more are likely to be the giver yourself.
But the thing about it is, though, Tom, and it just hits me like a ton of bricks yet again, is I know there are many things or events that kind of maybe get in the way of things in and of itself. It's just like you said just earlier, that if you see someone do something, let's say at that checkout, like you did with that guy, and they paid for that food at that checkout and everything like that, but it gets into your mind, hey, maybe I can do this in a week or 2 days or a month or whatever. But what keeps us maybe doing that in the immediate now moment? What in your estimation is a thing maybe for a lot of us that says, if we see that immediate need being done by somebody, why can't I take part in that kind of immediate now moment? What keeps us from that?
There's probably a lot of reasons. I mean, there's a lot of different scenarios. What holds that up, that action, right? I
Mm-hmm.
mean, for me, I'm only guessing that you're too hurried, you're too fast in whatever it is you got going on. You're too hurried, and you think you're going to be running late. Who cares if you're running late if you do that? Who cares if you miss your train? There's another one in 20 minutes, or who cares? It's not a big deal in the grand scheme of things for you to pause for just a moment or two to do something good for somebody else. It's really not. So it prevents you from doing that action in that immediate. There's a lot of different scenarios, you know. Um, there's. I witnessed a horrible, horrible car accident at like 6 o'clock in the morning on a dark highway, and the car landed on its roof right next to me, like
Oh wow!
slid. It was a broadside in the intersection ahead of me, and then it landed, flipped, boom, on the ground right next to me. It shook my bones at 6 a.m. And my first inclination
Wow!
was to get out of my car and help that person. But what I did instead was I first pulled my car over to the shoulder because I could have one created a wider accident. Two, the car could have blown up, right? So in the time that I took just to move over to the shoulder and get out, the guy was able to climb out of the car and sit on the guardrail. But at least I didn't drive away like, holy shit, I better get going. I got to go to the gym, you know? And so I'm thankful that I have at least that mindset. And when you witness that from other people, you go, yeah, they get it. They get it, right? So it's act kindly now is the mindset, like right now, the here and now. It's far better to act in kindness in the here and now.
Right. And see, for me, I'm the kind of person that I do want to do things in that now moment, and I'm very, very cognizant when I do see that. Uh, but I do also recognize it's like with you. I knew you had to, like you said, you had to go to the gym, but you said the gym may not be important enough right now for me to actually do this. Actually, that's more important
Yeah.
and everything. So it's about recognizing that what matters most maybe in that now moment. And granted, and I know a lot of us have done this, is that when we see people that's and in need of help, and prime example of this, and you've probably seen it, Tom, especially on the highways and everything like that, people would literally be on the side of the road, broken down and everything. And I've even had this happen to me and my wife at one point. People will just pass by, and then next thing you know, you're wondering, why doesn't more people
Yeah.
just actually take the time to say, hey, if there's something I can do and everything. So I think that's another thing that we got to be cognizant of is what does that time really mean to me if I'm going to take the time to go get gas for somebody or help put a tire on the car or whatever the case may be.
Um, I don't know. It's about diving in and doing it, just doing it. And not only are you helping them, whatever their need is, tremendously, you're helping yourself because you're picking yourself up and proving that, like, I did a good thing here. You know, there are times when you don't act because you think I could possibly be putting myself at risk too. So there's the fear of being, like, for example, in that highway thing. Um, you get out to see if they could use help, and it turns out to be you're victimized, you're carjacked, or you're kidnapped. So stuff that we read about in the news and we see on television shows triggers in your head like I just shouldn't do that. Mind my own business, and that's kind of a pity. Because there are so many instances where people truly do need help. Like one time, for example, there've been times when I've driven right past somebody. I'm like, that was stupid. I should have pulled over. And then one time I actually had to go. I didn't go right past them, right? And I thought, go to the next exit, take the ramp, and come back. It might take you 5 more minutes to get back to her, but she'll probably still be there, and she'll probably still need the help. You know, and if the help is nothing more than, make a phone call, or use my AAA membership. Right? You don't have AAA, you don't have roadside assistance. I got it. I got you. You
Yeah.
know, yeah.
Joe,
So
I'm glad to see you here this afternoon, ma'am. How you doing? How things going on in your neck of the woods?
I'm muted. I'm sorry. My goodness. Doing like a million things at once. Going good. My dog had 8 puppies this week.
oh my gosh.
I know, they're so cute.
Oh my god.
I can't even tell you how cute they are.
How
So
many?
they're full golden retrievers.
Oh, nice.
Mom and dad are mine. And I've done this once before. And they are just like so vulnerable and little right now. And it's frankly, it's the biggest joy of weird little side things I do. Um, but they have made it through almost 3 nights, and like 7 is really the cutoff point, like where you stop being so nervous.
Yeah.
So because a lot of times, like mom, who's mine, her name's Amelia, she's so tired she can smother them.
Yeah.
And or stop nursing one, like the runt, which is my favorite one of them all. I'm like just giving her a little like doggy bottle on the side. But yeah, so it's been a weird week, and I thought I'd jump on to see some other adults real quick. I've really been fully cleaning in a dog world. So
When we got our dog, we have a Yorkie poo, and my wife drove out to Lancaster, Pennsylvania, and it wasn't a puppy mill. It was a farm that had I think it was like 11 or 12 puppies, and she went literally to find a specific one that she saw because they showed pictures, but that one didn't cuddle up to her. This other one just came up and cuddled up to her, and that became our dog. So
it's weird how you have like a sense of like energy with like one dog versus another. And I don't know. I've rescued dogs in the past, and they really just didn't have the right energy. And I never gave up a dog. I never would do that. But and so they lived a good 15 years, but they never got nice with my kids.
Mm-hmm.
And so my golden retrievers, oh my goodness, their personalities are like, oh,
Yeah.
okay, who are we going to next? Like this, they are the sweetest, smartest, and biggest food mongers there are. So
Nice.
I'll see if I can. Puppies are downstairs, but I'll grab one and show you guys.
Yeah. Oh,
Nice.
They're like little rodents right
Yeah.
now, and they're
They're
gonna
like gerbils.
Yeah.
they are
Nice.
a little bit like gerbils.
Yeah.
Nice.
So yeah, so that's been my week, and I've been a little tie. But it's okay. It's been really happy. I'm really glad that she made it through, and this is the last time I'm gonna do this.
Yeah, she's not having any more fun in her life. That's enough.
No, yeah, and my dog. So I have 2 dogs. So mom and dad are mine,
Yeah.
and my dad has swimmers. He's got swimmers. They like literally like locked for like I don't know 1 minute, and I was like, "Oh, Jesus. Okay."
That's what we used to say about my dad, because I'm one of 9 children and he's one of 11. So I used to say the only form of birth control in my Irish Catholic family was my dad calling home from work and saying, "Honey, I missed the train." Yeah.
It's like literally last night I was telling a friend, I was like, are these dogs like Irish Catholic or something? I don't know. Like they like now there is so 13 dogs that have come out of my dog. So both from the same two parents. And I was
So,
like, yo, should we get them baptized? I don't know.
yeah. So what are you
So
going
what
to do?
about you, Tom? Do you have how many kids you have?
What's that? Me? I have 3.
3? Okay.
Yeah, they're 39, 35, and my daughter will be 30 next week. 2 boys and a girl.
Wow. You
So
don't even look that old.
I'm 65.
Oh, you don't look it at all.
Yeah, yeah. So
21 and Holden, right?
that's right. When we moved from New Jersey 2 hours into Pennsylvania, everybody said, "Well, why'd you do that? Oh my God, you're out in rural country now." And I said, when our kids grew up and left the home, we ran away in the middle of the night. We built a brand new home, and it's like new culture, you know.
Like just like a bridge to Terabithia. You just were like running. You're like, okay, Jersey, no.
Yeah.
Philly,
I used to live in a town
I
that
go
was,
across to Delaware.
yeah, I mean, I lived in a town that was all of 15 minutes away from Princeton, New Jersey. And I
Yeah.
did tons of business in Princeton. And now my address, 2 hours away, is Princeton Place. So the joke is, I had to move 2 hours away to get a Princeton address.
Well, I grew up outside of Philadelphia and on Conestoga Road. And there is a Conestoga Road here in my suburb outside of Chicago. And they have my exact address up for sale. And I'm like, sounds fun.
Yeah.
I don't really care. But I did grow up outside of Philadelphia. I went to the Jersey Shore every summer. But yeah, no, my home is Chicago now.
We had a home at the Jersey Shore, so I spent my whole youth
Stone Harbor,
on the beach
Avalon.
in Beach Haven on Long Beach Island.
Oh, and LBI. Okay.
Yeah, and so I love it. That's like the gateway to heaven, the white sand beach between your toes. I love it.
It was the most fun, especially like as kids, because back then, and the parents really didn't care. They were like sitting, like smoking cigs, drinking beers on the beach, and they're just like, go. And all their little chairs were lined up, and
Yeah,
we'd be like 20 kids just having the time of our life.
Yep.
My sister, who was 2.5, was found walking home to our beach house at one point by a nice woman. And she was like, I was hot. I wouldn't go home. And I'm like, Mom, where were you during all this? Okay. But it was a different time for sure. And if I
My
could
brothers and sisters would be like, we're going back to the house and never come back. So all the chairs and towels and everything would be left there. And then so we have a picture.
Oh my God, that was the worst.
We have a picture of me walking back to the house with, like beach chairs on both arms, towels around my neck and my shoulders, because I had to carry it all home. You guys are such jerks, And I think I was like 10 years old already. So it was sort of
That's a horrible thing. And then they just sometimes leave their bikes there, and then you'd be like rolling bikes back, and you're just like, why? And like my mom be like, it's your job. You're the old.
Yeah, right.
But that kind of relates back into your point, Chris. Like people stopped back then. And I think there is so much negative news and press about people who are bad for, kids. And, there was so much stranger danger that was like pushed out there. that that's why people don't stop. It's not because they don't want to be nice, that they're scared.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, but then the question then becomes, so like I asked Tom earlier before you got on, Joan and Shelley, glad to see you here too as well. Is what really keeps us from acting on the kindness that we can bestow on each other? It's like you said, you might have a sense of fear, you might have a sense of anxiety. There's multiple things that done that, but I gotta ask both of you ladies, what has been some of the greatest acts of kindness not only have you seen, but maybe some of the things that you have done in your own right? And also, in context for that, is who has probably been some of the most influential people that has inspired you to share that kindness with others unselfishly and unabashedly?
Well, I would say a person that I just met like on Monday or Tuesday night. It was a networking event. I think it was Monday night. And she just really just act of kindness. She just like, I think she's a psychologist, a color psychologist. That's what she said. But I think she has like some psychiatric, like a psychic abilities as well, be able to read people and read people's mind and what they're going through. And she read me, even going to that network and me just trying to get back out there, trying to get the energy, trying to stay positive, even through all this struggle. And she told me, and basically it turned my whole like self around now. So now I said, you know what, just let it go. Just let God take control, whatever happens to me and my company, just God's all in control. There's nothing I can do. I don't have nothing in this earth. I don't have anything. Only thing I have is him. I don't have money, no one to come rescue me. And I said, it's just all God from here. So she just turned my life around again. And she said, start your second book. Because I told her about, no matter where this and that goes with the company and all that, she said, don't even worry about it. It's until it happens, it happens. She said, start your second book. Because I told her I was going to write a second book, and it was going to be the manifestation from the first book, me getting my manifestation, my dreams, it coming true. But my best friend that I met up with on last night, yeah, she told me the same thing. She said it might be a sign that God has something different for you and might have, you know, be telling you to move on past this and go into your public speaking, because that's what I want to do, is be an inspirational speaker. So it's just God putting good people in my life. Um, just like that lady. Now I'm starting my second book, and she said, your colors are Taurus, because she asked me what my sign is. I'm Taurus, so it's pink and green for Taurus. She said, what is the opposite of Taurus? What sign is the opposite of Taurus? And she looked it up. We Googled it and set it to chat GBT and all that. And it said that Scorpio is. And Scorpios is black and red. Their colors.
Yeah.
Yeah. And basically I'm pink and black. So I have some of Taurus, which is the pink. I have black, which is the Scorpio. So I have some of both, my color and my opposite. And she said, basically, you're fun, you're the party. And she said, I'm a party fuck. And she's like, do you mind the word fuck? She's like, does that offend you? I said, no, not at all. And she said, just say fuck it, just
Right.
fuck it, just let it go, and that's what she told me. And that was the biggest person that God put in my life. And she said for the word fuck to put a heart instead of the you, meaning love, because she
Hmm.
could tell I'm a big lover, I'm a big giver, that I give, give, give. But just like I say, whenever it's your turn, nobody gives back to you when you need it. Nobody's there for you. So just like I said, I had to give all that up, all that negativity, and just moved past it. And now I just said, fuck it, just
Hmm.
fuck it. I'm a party fuck. That's the next book.
Yeah. I love
I
that.
paid for the book. I'm starting it. I'm getting it going. I'm gonna get it out there, and I'm gonna be the serial author, and then hopefully I get that, inspirational
Cool.
speaker thing going soon, And if God, has plans for this to still keep going, he will. If not, it's all up to God what direction the company goes with. But, just like I said, I wanted to do that cash cab like we were talking about, other avenues. And that might be where this goes versus me out here, killing myself trying to get this $1 million concept or multi-billion-dollar concept. And just like I said, it might not even be in God's plan, even with all this hard work and everything I put into it. It might not even be in God's plan, like my best friend Candace said. But, things that I've done for the community, I hope this person don't hit me. They're getting too close, like really getting too close. Um, but yeah, I'm just sitting here waiting on my client. But um, yeah, so I think he's just dropping off something for this building. But my client's at the doctor's appointment. But just staying positive, and things that I've done is just giving back to the community.
Yeah, you just froze, so you might want to
Yeah, I add her back.
click in there again. Yeah, you froze for a second there, Shelley.
Oh, okay. Well, I have one that coming up in June that I'm doing for like a nonprofit. But I'll just sit here and be honest with you. Me and my client talked, and pretty much we're gonna shut the company down. We're gonna bankruptcy on it. That's what he told me, and just start fresh. If it's meant to start fresh,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm at the same time, what's the point? What's the point of starting fresh? I don't know. Uh,
If you're
'Cause
going to
I don't.
start fresh with the same kind of business,
Yeah, I don't. The thing is he don't want to do what I'm getting business on and what I'm.
yeah, you kind of.
He don't want to do the um party bus side and stuff, which is what I love.
Mm-hmm.
He's willing to invest into the business side, which is not business side, but like I told him I wanted to do medical transportation, but then really he don't even want to be a part of that. He said basically I would get 20% of it. He would pay for the vehicles and I would be running it, but then he'd get 80%. I'd get 20% after profits, after all the expenses and all that. And he wants to do the rental car business, which, is fine. I thought about it too, but I don't really care for it either.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess just because I'm just one person, I got so much on my plate. And just like I said, I'm just let all that go. But um,
You ever thought
so it's
about if
like
he did that?
I don't have nothing to do but to count on God. But it's like I don't think he's gonna start over. Like he just says let it
Yeah.
go, and then I'll just let him open whatever LLCs he's gonna open, impeccable medical transportation or impeccable rental cars, whatever. I get 20%. And I just like, where is this gonna go? Because I have all these clients, and that's the only thing I feel bad about, losing a business. But at the same time, it's not in my control, it's God's control. So, but
Yeah.
I have all these clients and people that use me and support me and look up to me and rooting for me. So it's like you just don't know. But I can't keep stressing over it. I just had to let everything go, and I got all this off my chest now. But
Are you
what I mean, what do y'all say? What do you think?
are you on a speaking basis with your clients? Like, would they speak
Are
to
y'all
you
there?
beyond?
Y'all froze up too?
She must not be hearing me, Jim or Chris.
Oh, I think y'all froze up.
We hear you, Shelley.
We hear you, but she's not hearing us.
Yeah.
Huh? Let's see. She get. Can you hear us, Shelley? Guess not.
It could be a one-way transmission issue, but no worries there. Um, but again, I truly believe kindness can be something so deep and meaningful to us all, and when we just allow that to
Did y'all
occur,
froze up?
there were
You're the one that keeps freezing up, Shell, because we're hearing you, but you're not hearing us.
Y'all froze up or something?
Yeah.
Froze up?
Hey Tom, can you send her a message in the private chat? Say that
Yeah.
yeah, that'll be good. But like I said, when we are actually really kind to one another, and again, I truly believe it could be to something that is so small that can literally be that one thing or two or whatever that can actually have an impact on people. And I truly believe those very simple acts goes a long way. It's just like what you said earlier, Tom, about the guy that was in the grocery store. Literally, his card was declined,
Yeah.
but yet, who stepped up to the plate? Someone right next to him to say, "Hey, I'll pay for your groceries. I'll take care of it."
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and we see that in clips on YouTube, right? But there was, it actually happened late at night for
Mhm.
me. I happened to see it. I wasn't even the one who stepped up, it's just having that. It isn't, there's a lot of people who have kindness in their heart, but they don't take action. So that's not any fault of theirs. They just don't take action. What does it take for you to take action? Right. And I believe when you pause away from all your hurriedness and your schedule and your timetable and responsibilities, you just breathe a little bit and you have your eyes and ears peeled to see what happens around you. You will witness it more. It's like I said earlier, if you say yellow Volkswagen, you say it out loud, I guarantee you by tomorrow you're going to see 2 or 3 yellow Volkswagens in some parking lot, right? So if you look for simple acts of kindness, you will see them, you will witness them, and you will be, two things will happen. You will feel like, God, that is so awesome. I'm so glad I saw that, And then you'll feel like, not only did that make me feel good that I saw that, I want to be like that. It's like that I want to be like Mike, campaign. So you are more apt to take action yourself the next time you see that opportunity to help somebody. But we're just so crazy busy and fast and driven that you're not even seeing it, but it's there every single day. There's tons of them happening, you're just not seeing it.
And I think like a lot of people do get overwhelmed with just a lot going on. I mean, especially with like, just the amount of tech influence that's coming into our lives. You're just like, text message, like what app do I use? Like you're trying to like grasp that. Even I don't consider myself old, but it still is like a lot. If I
Yeah.
looking out for a contractor, it's just like I have to respond to 15 people, and then I still have to respond to my kids' texts, and then I have to respond to the grocery pickup, and then I have to respond to, puppy ads, and I'm just like, oh my
Yeah.
goodness. And so sometimes it's really good to decompress
Mhm.
and go for a walk and whatever. I mean, that
Right.
helps me so that you don't feel overwhelmed. But I would like to tell you, sorry, I was at a Red Hot Chili Peppers concert back in the day, and Anthony Kiedis jumped into the crowd to save this kid from a mosh pit, and he was like this. I probably is 18 years old, but he was a little guy.
Mhm.
Pulled him up on stage, and I was like, "Ah, power." And I was like, that's like something he didn't have to do, and he did it. But I hope that I have lived my life in that way, where if I see some injustice happening, I'm like, no,
Yeah.
I'm gonna actually, stop that kid from being yelled at. Or if I mean, especially kids and animals, that's like my thing. But
Mhm.
or old people, anyone vulnerable. And so I hope that I have done enough so far. I hope to continue that I really has been impactful in some people's lives. And through this channel, through LinkedIn, I have met friends all over the world who have given me just the best energy, and I'm proud to be part of the community. So,
Cool.
um,
Very cool.
so that
I can't hear crap.
I have this little phrase relative to this whole concept that we're talking about. It's just be the one. Instead of saying, I wish I did that, or that was so great that they did that, or I saw them do a kind thing, or we all want someone else to fix the problem that we see, but you want someone else to fix it.
Right.
Step up and be the one. Right. And so be the one can mean a lot of things, but whatever that is, you take charge and you make it happen instead of wishing someone else did.
That's exactly me. I mean, like, I donate books that we don't read anymore to like the little libraries around the town, and I clean up dog poop that's not my dog's, and I will reach out to someone who is going through a divorce, because I have experience with that, and just to make sure they're okay, like not just like totally struggling.
Right.
And I've given other people ideas for, I don't know, just like side income, and I will make time for anyone. It's just also you have to like decompress your brain sometimes, because like you have a lot going on.
Yeah.
And for instance, Chris, I know you have a lot going on, and this is your priority, but you still have stuff that you're trying to, secure the job and whatnot. You have a wife to take care of, and a home to take care of, and figuring out how to pay the bills. And it can be a lot. And so some people don't want to step away from their primary responsibilities to be that one. And something inside of me, and I think it's inside of almost everyone, like wants to be the person who steps up. And I've always been like more of a, not a fighter. I don't think I've ever gotten a fight. But like a little bit Rage Against the Machine.
Mm-hmm.
So I really like to make sure those who feel vulnerable are protected.
Well, I greatly appreciate you sharing those sentiments with me. That I've created that space for you, even though I have a lot of stuff, like you said, Joan, a lot of stuff going on. I have to take care of a wife, got to take care of a house, got to make dinner, all those kind of other things. But I truly believe, though, Joan, when we actually take the time through intention, through inspiration, and through impact to find out what is really going on in someone else's life. And I'm hoping she comes on the show today. Her name is Shanda Spates.
Mm-hmm.
Is that she actually works at Walmart. She does it, I think, maybe 2 or 3 days a week. But on one of our very last LinkedIn audio calls that we had before they shut it down on LinkedIn, she was kind of going over of a mother and son was coming through the checkout lane in where she was, and all she simply did was strike up a conversation with both the mother and the son, and just created that environment and everything. And before they ended up checking out and leaving, the mother went back and said something to Shanda and said, Shanda, you just made my son's and I's day because you took the time to speak to me, look at me, acknowledge me, and just really share that sense of humanity with me in and of itself. And Joan, when we are really, really intentional with that, each and every single day that we're alive. It could be, again, the small acts of kindness that can go a long way. Like I said before, that we open up a door for somebody. We say, "How are you doing?" and actually mean it. And
Yeah.
and Tom, I want to go to you on that.
I mean,
Yeah,
I really get that. Like, I really try every day to like make something in the outside of this home, like something good. Like I was at Whole Foods the other day, literally the other day, and I had held the door open for these little girls coming in with their dad, and then he held the door open for me. But I was like, oh my gosh, you guys look
Mhm.
so pretty. Oh my goodness. Did you just come from church? What? And
Right.
they're like, and then they are just so cute. They're following me around the store a little bit. And they're like, look, we have high heels on and you have high heels on. And I was like, ooh, Lordy, like don't get into those high heels. It hurts your feet. And the dad's laughing. And he pulled me over at the end. He was like, thanks for being so nice. Their mom's resting at home. And so that was nice for them to have a little interaction. So you just, it's like it's such a small thing. You just like can't be shy inside because
Yeah.
people want to be like, hi.
You know what? You don't know. You hear this phrase all the time. You don't know when your number's up. You could go out in the parking lot and get run over, right? I mean, you just don't know. So why spare the kindness? What are you waiting for? Why let someone else's notion of what is considered questionable commentary, right, stop you from being kind because you just don't know, right? And then you've never ever expressed it. Um, my wife like was all over me one day because I said I went into a CVS and I'm at the checkout counter and there's a woman who had a very exotic look. She just absolutely looked stunning, and she was trying to figure out how to do her own self check, right? And I said, can I offer you a compliment? That was just it, right? And I wasn't hitting on her. She might have thought I was a creepy guy hitting on her, but she didn't take it that way. Can I
yeah,
offer you a compliment? And she said, yeah, what is that? And I just said, you are stunningly beautiful. Do you ever model? And I wasn't like, here's my card, you should model for me, right? It was just,
It was in front of your wife though.
no, she didn't see that. But
Okay.
she said I was totally in the wrong for doing that. And
No, not in the wrong, but like maybe in front of your wife is a no.
yeah. Oh yeah. But my point is that don't hold back on kind acts or kind conversations like you indicated, um, because they're right there in the moment. It's just literally right there in the moment. You're not going to have the
Yeah,
moment.
you can't like think twice or it's gone.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
person walks on 10 feet and then you don't have that opportunity, or that kid gets spanked in the tush for doing something he wasn't
Yeah. Yeah.
meaning to do, or that dog just runs off into the prairie fields and you're just like, F. Um,
Yeah.
Yes, it is. It has to be instinctual to do those random acts of kindness. And it has to be genuine. So you were giving her a genuine compliment, which
Yeah.
is what I really tell my children. That is what the real cool girls in high school always did. They gave compliments, but the good ones gave genuine compliments. Like,
Yeah.
I
Right.
actually like that sweater you're wearing or whatever.
Right. Right.
So it has to be from a place of goodness. It can't be just like,
From a
oh,
gender.
your home's so nice. I love that new color. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Your nails are fabulous.
Yeah. Yeah.
but that really goes to show, though, Joan,
I'm
that
listening. I just have to turn the computer off.
yeah, that
I'm
really goes
listening.
to show, Joan, when we again are so, like you said, genuine in what we do with people, And I'm glad we're talking about the genuineness of kindness, because see, a lot of us, Tom, and I want to take this to the next level with you as well, is if we just do something just out of the sheer kind of going through the motions kind of dynamic, that we just say, hey, if someone else does it, I just got to do what they do and copy what they've done and just say, I've done my good act for the day or whatever. Have we probably, in one way, shape, matter, or form, fallen in that trap that we end up having to say it to ourselves, for us to really look good, we got to do this to say, hey, we done our kind thing for today and everything like that. But then again, the thing that we got to ask ourselves, and probably in the back of our minds, is that, was that a true, genuine act?
Right.
That's why all the food shelters are filled up at Thanksgiving and Christmas, because people are like, oh, we should like maybe do something good and show our kids that we were good.
Yeah.
That's not really when they need the help, actually.
Right.
If you really, so I do volunteer at a shelter once a week, and it's an intake shelter, so it's not housing. But you know what they want? They want cereal. They want cereal, and then they want bicycles so they can get around.
Mm-hmm.
And people like donate soup. You can't even make soup at most of these places. They can't make soup.
Right.
And so it's like you can't take stuff that is like really like vegetables and fruits unless you're going to like a big center that has a specific department that will make sure that everything's fresh and whatnot, because the chances, if it goes bad and someone sues them, that's really bad for the organization. But it is interesting that so many people think about it during the holidays, and then the rest of the year, everyone's still suffering.
Yeah.
Everyone's still going through it. There's still homeless people coming in, but they, the actual thoughtfulness behind it doesn't exactly match. You know what I mean? So yeah, there's a little tip. If you want to donate anything to a food shelter, donate cereal. All right.
Yeah. Chris, I would say that, a lot of people who might do, volunteering or whatever the action is, the act of kindness, that is centered around, what I should be doing. It's the right thing for me to do this, so I'll do that. I will look good. Or like a company decides at the one time a year to do something good. One, I would not judge that, right? Because they're doing it. It's better than not doing it. They're doing it. And others can see or witness that or be the receiver of that and not know that they're doing it with an agenda, right? So I'm now seeing someone helping me, or I'm witnessing someone help someone else without any knowledge. Is it with agenda or is it genuine? And that's okay, because they themselves can, if you will, graduate to other actions that are purely genuine. And then you have those that are doing it.
Maybe like 1 out of the 20 people from the office, like,
Yeah.
it's inspired by that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a really great thing. I absolutely think any sort of giving back is a positive, but also for my own sake, I know that so many people need year-round help and year-round phone calls and year-round just even smiling at someone. Like, it just makes people feel better.
Yeah.
I mean, we're going through like a weird time in history, and a lot of people are scared.
Yeah.
I was thinking of building a small, like, honestly, Airbnb type home. And the cost of materials is so expensive. There's no way I could afford it. Whereas, I don't know, 5 years ago, definitely I could afford it. But everyone's a little scared about how the country and the economy is shaping up. So just like a smile or a wave or like thumbs up, like it's not cheesy if you do it in a not cheesy way.
Right. It's going to be a time of, it already is, of community. More people, like the whole village, it takes a village concept. We really need the help of each other to make better things happen because we're all pressed financially, unless you're one of the gifted wealthy, right? We're getting more and more pressed.
I know
So
you introduced me to that guy on Tinder. I will say yes.
yeah,
No,
yeah,
I'm kidding. Don't give a shit about that.
yeah, right, right. Yeah, that's the I don't really care crowd. What are your thoughts, Chris?
Well, for me, I truly believe, Tom and Joan, it's not about money at all, and here's why. Probably when we give of ourselves and we recognize that the most priceless gift in and of itself, which is life in and of itself, because that human life is priceless by very definition. But for whatever rhyme or reason, Tom or Joan, we really think that it takes money to make impact when in fact it doesn't. It can be, like Joan said, that very simple smile, or like what you've done, Tom, probably in a Starbucks drive-through. Hey, I'm just go out and pay not only from my coffee or cappuccino. Someone else behind me is going to be the lucky winner of Tom's goodness today because I choose to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I truly believe when we just do things out of the goodness of our hearts, and even if we do it with the prism of money at hand, and we kind of do that and say, hey, I've seen this before on YouTube, to where people who actually are homeless have had people come up to me and to them and say, hey, you know, uh, if I buy you some McDonald's, would you be okay with that and everything like that? And I've seen somebody on YouTube, I forget his YouTube channel, but what he does is literally intentional acts of kindness continuously over and over again. He has bought laptops for people. He has bought gas for a whole community of people. In fact, I think there was a whole bunch of people at this one gas station, and he bought all the gas for everybody who wanted to have gas and everything like that. Even though it did take money,
Yeah,
that one person had an impact on that community, and he got recognized for it, not because of the clicks that he had probably on his YouTube channel or people saying, hey, this was the guy that actually paid for my gas for this week and everything like
I
that.
really disagree. I so disagree. He's doing that for the clicks, and maybe that's good that he is doing a good thing for the clicks, but he is getting paid for that. He
mm-hmm.
is getting subscribers. No, you don't film stuff. You don't
Right,
need
right.
viewership to, be kind. I don't film myself being like, hey, little lady,
Yeah,
you look great today. Like, I would never think that sounds gross to me, honestly.
yeah. That's where the word selfless comes in because you should not be doing it for the applause or recognition back.
No,
Mhm.
and like, yes, it's getting the message out there. So that's a positive. I would say that's
Yeah,
positive. But, when you're doing little acts of kindness, they should just come out of you and
yeah.
you don't need it recorded.
Something that I did, and I never put our logo on it. When we went into the pandemic, I was the head of a small business group that I created for the chamber in New Jersey. So we were all about advancing small businesses and their visibility and all of that. And then we were all thrown into pandemic, and no one was going to go to these stores and these businesses. So I did free social media for a different business for 7 months every day, and no one knew who it was going to be next. It was just that in our territory, which was the central New Jersey area, I cherry picked a small business. Of course, the ones that were members of that chamber were first, and did free social media across like 3 platforms. It was Twitter, LinkedIn, and Facebook. And no one knew who was coming next. So after about 10 of them, they were like, where are these coming from? And it was one, for me to stay sharp and fresh and developing social media. And 2, because that group I was responsible for, and now they're going to like die because no one's coming to their business. They're retail. So, I felt pretty good about that, doing that. That was my reward,
I'd say plus, plus, plus. And I similarly, my favorite restaurant, downtown Naperville here, outside of Chicago, what is an amazing restaurant. And he started a food truck during COVID so that he could just make money to keep his business going. And so I set up at least, I'm gonna go on the low end, 8 block parties where his food truck would come and make enough money and just put the word out. And that wasn't, nothing is totally selfless. Like, I also was able to give out my business cards for my company. So it's not because my company was struggling too. But I think those little big, big acts of kindness, Tom, are really amazing. And it helped us all survive through all of this COVID nonsense because, we not in the 90s anymore. We not in the 80s. I don't know. It was the best. We grew up in the best time, but yeah, and that restaurant that I love is called Allegory.
Mm-hmm.
Still in business.
Good.
Friends with the owner. Him and his wife just had a new baby.
Mm-hmm.
And it's makes my heart happy that like I've kind of contributed to helping.
Mm-hmm. Last weekend, I gave a talk at a summit on resilience and renewal. And a lot of people speak on that topic lately, on resilience, right? And they weren't paying me. It was a solid hour plus away from my home in King of Prussia. So Philadelphia, John.
Ooh, the mall. I haven't been there in so long.
It was one of the hotels.
I live in Wayne. I grew up in Wayne.
Okay. That's northern Jersey or Pennsylvania, Wayne, Pennsylvania, right?
Pennsylvania. So Radnor, Villanova.
Yeah, so it wasn't far from there. And
yeah,
it was about 120, 130 people in the room. And it's the third time that I talked on that topic. And I really, really worked hard. I put a ton of hours into making it a foolproof talk. It wasn't a PowerPoint presentation. It wasn't a classroom, workshop. And I felt really good at the end, right? Good about, what I performed. And about 20 people stayed and skipped the next session to make sure they could talk to me. And probably each of the 20 had a different thing to tell me that struck a chord with them. So I spoke for 50 minutes and that had Q&A. But it was so heartwarming to me to know, okay, that thing I said in the first 5 minutes struck them. That thing I said at the end with the summary and tips struck them. It was it sent a message to me, I'm in the right place. This is what I need to be doing. And then I stayed and sold a whole bunch of books, and that was cool. I have a book and I was able to sell them. But more than anything, that and then the follow-ups that I got in emails meant everything to me. I didn't need to be paid. It made all the difference that how many people were struck by my specific story and how I've come through different kinds of crises, and tips and specific steps that you could take when you leave today to help you, first of all, know where to draw your resilience, and 2, to understand that we have a concept, what I call resilience equity, which is all the wisdom that we've gained in our life, all of the lessons and people who pushed us, and the things that we have endured that helped us get through. That's your equity, like your home equity. So when you have a problem or a trouble or a challenge or a crisis,
Definitely.
you got all that. I got, I said, that's not your baggage. That's what you're going to take forward with you, right? That's your luggage. It's not your baggage. So to me, I felt like I was on a high. I didn't need to do any more work for the weekend because I was on a high.
But that's like such a relevant and relatable feeling, because I co-host on Friends podcasts a lot. Not for money a lot. Like sometimes they'll give me a little money, but it's like just the way that I am able to branch out and um smile, be myself, just like fully, and like, you just be silly a little bit where like people need silliness,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it is a joyful, and that's for me, it's, and I hope they take something away from that. I've gotten so many wonderful emails from that, but
Mhm.
that is a wonderful feeling to have as a human, just that you're not like rigid, because a lot of people come from very rigid backgrounds,
Mhm. Mhm.
where it's hard to talk about feelings.
Yeah.
That
Somebody asked me that afterwards, first person, first question. She said, how how is it so easy for you to stand up in front of our group and be vulnerable with your stories? Because I had several extraordinary medical crises, right?
Mhm.
And I said, for starters, thank you for thinking that I make it look easy, because it's not.
Mhm.
But it's good for me to expel that, to project what's vulnerable, and then when you do that, you get strong. And hopefully, things that I've been able to say to you today embolden you to feel stronger about yourself. You don't need to be as vocal and open a book as I am, but vulnerability,
Open book. I'm already there, bro.
yeah. And so that was like amazing. It was our first person, and that, when the first person asks a question and the others feel free to ask
And
questions.
it's like, so he was just like, how do I do it? How do I get over the hump?
Mhm.
Like, it just is hard. And maybe I feel embarrassed. Maybe my parents wouldn't like feel the same about
Yeah.
me. So I,
No, I said to her, in my speaking training with a group that's a world-renowned group, the every training session that we go through is a safe environment. There's no judgment. There's not a single person here who can judge anyone's comments. It's a judgment-free zone. And so I said that to her, that I don't feel that there's a single person in this room that's judging me for how I said something, right? So I feel secure that I could be that way. If I had a heckler, if I was a comedian and I had a heckler, then I would feel, vulnerable.
yeah.
But um, so you have to just sort of feel like, okay, no one's judging me. And I always remember the phrase as a speaker that you can prepare gobs and gobs of content, and you think every bit of that content is important and memorable, and they don't remember 80+% of what you told them, but they remember how you made them feel.
Mhm.
They can remember your smile, you laughing at yourself, or you
Yes.
messing up, because, and then you rebounding from that,
Hmm.
and they remember that you are just like them,
Yeah.
and it's like that's what's important, like
Yeah.
for all human beings, like just they want people to feel identified with who they feel identified with. And
Yeah.
I have found that with people on 6 continents so far. We're still waiting on Antarctica.
Yeah. Well, Trump might buy that too. So yeah.
I mean, who knows?
The
We're
country
we're
that's
we're
looking for
buying a
that.
lot. We're
Yeah.
buying a lot. Canada, Greenland, whatever.
So
It's
Chris,
a lot.
Any other comments on this topic? Because I have
Oh,
to go.
I love where this is going, because for me, what's showing up for me right now is when, like you just said, Joan,
Yep.
when people actually just show up to do it, that matters.
Right.
And for me, if we are willing just to show up, and we don't again expect anything in return, or even like you said, Joan, you don't have to do it on YouTube, you don't have to do it on TikTok, you don't even have, oh, look at the puppy,
Uh,
um, so
God.
beautiful.
God.
um, but
I mean, there's a lot of them in here. Like, there's another.
nice.
It's amazing. I just want to show you guys. Like,
Yeah,
this
yeah,
is real very big.
Yeah, but that's why I truly believe, again, though, Tom and Joan, when we are just willing to show up and we do those kind of things that, again, is based in intention, based in inspiration, based in impact, and again, we're doing it from a place of genuineness, and that act of kindness will go a long way. But also, what also showed up for me as you were sharing there, Joan, and Tom, is also the thing about it is too as well. Maybe some people see it in these kind of two dynamics, and I want to hear both your takes on it. Is that number one, that we probably look at that kindness as mainly, I won't say mainly, but maybe a vulnerability for somebody, that they have to act out in a kind way to, again, that goes into my second point, is maybe they have to do these things to kind of put that mask on, for people don't just have them be seen for who they really are and everything. And that comes when imposter syndrome takes and sets in and everything. And for me, I look at kindness as not a bad thing, or of a place of a negative vulnerability standpoint. It is truly one of a positive vulnerability standpoint, because I truly believe when you're very vulnerable to people around you in your community, and you do see an opportunity to help them pay for that gas, or you get their groceries for the day, or go into that Starbucks and you pay for everyone's coffee and everything like that. You're not doing that to say, oh, I'm big and bad now, I can pay for everyone's lunch today or whatever, and I can just do that on any given day of the week and everything like that. But then again, a lot of people, and I've been this way many years ago, me included, that when we see that act of kindness being done, whether it be in the workplace, whether it be wherever, and we know those people by very definition, because either they were a best friend of ours, or we worked with them in a particular place or whatever, we kind of know who they are to a certain degree. But what gets into our minds, like I said, I was this way many years ago, is when they do something, they are doing that. And I'll use this as an example, especially in the workplace today. We do something very kindly for someone else to make that act of kindness to be felt genuine and honest and everything to everyone on that team. But we're doing that for an ulterior motive standpoint, to where when management or leadership look upon that, they say, wait a minute, he's doing great work and everything like that. They're actually doing some great things to help out the team and everything like that. But in reality, and Tom, I know you've seen this before, and I've seen it too as well. They actually have the shoe on the other foot from a reality standpoint. When in reality, the actual person who is actually doing the kind things, and it's from a genuine place of kindness, and they are doing that because they know it's the right thing to do, is actually those very unseen people who are doing that. But because of whatever rhyme or reason, Joe next door is actually getting all the recognition, all the fame, all the lights handed over to him and saying, hey, Joe, you're doing great work here. You're doing all this great things. But then when they get them in a position of maybe of leadership, of importance, or whatever the case may be, when they are thinking that that act of kindness will be bestowed upon their position in that organization, and they don't see that shine through, they're going to end up saying, wait a minute, was I duped? Was
Right.
I actually not seeing what I really need to see? I mean, have you not seen that, Tom, before?
Right. They should not be doing. There's people who take charge and create actions and steps that of kindness or rewards because they expect the return. It's for an agenda. They expect to be recognized, right? And it doesn't mean that the act of kindness still, it doesn't mean that it was bad because someone's still having a good thing happen, right?
Right.
But it's for the wrong reasons. It's for selfish reasons. That's being selfish. I am doing this so that we get the plaque in our lobby as a company, or I'm doing this because we want to be recognized in the local press that we did this, right? I sent my team to work on a Habitat for Humanity day of work because I now know that that's going to get us some press. That's for the wrong reasons. It doesn't mean that the act was bad, but you're doing it for the wrong reasons. Often, the people who are just, that's a part of their soul to do kind things, they don't do it with agenda. There's no agenda. So they're often not seen, they're not recognized, but that's okay because they're not. Because someone above is recognizing them. Okay, it's being seen and heard by somebody else, right? A greater being. So, I want to leave you with this last thought because I have to go in a minute.
Okay.
And this goes to my comment earlier about keeping your eyes and ears peeled for what's going on around you.
Yes.
Many years ago, I was Christmas shopping for my wife, and just like a stylist does for a photo shoot, I touch and feel and hold up and I imagine, and I'm not a guy that just goes in and gets that thing off the shelf. So I was in a Taylor loft, and I'm looking at the slacks, and I'm looking at the sweater. I'm bringing the sweater over to here. Look, maybe that sweater, maybe that blouse. I'm kind of checking things out. I'm in there for probably 20 minutes or so, and then I put them back, and I'm going to go to another store. I might come back. I might think, well, that was good. I'm going to come back and buy that, right? So I go to another store and I'm shopping, and then I come back and I'm back in loft and I purchase those things. Well, what happened was there was a woman who was shopping with her daughter who watched me the first time, checking everything out, holding it up, seeing what matches, right? And she thought that I was being very particular and interesting that I was doing that, right?
Right.
And she happened to be coming back to the store just like I did to actually now purchase something. So she saw me again. She never introduced herself to me, but she found out who I was. And days later, they became a client of my agency.
Wow.
Yeah, a big, actually an education company. Because
I thought you were going to say that you're then cast to write the Christmas vacation script where he's holding up the lingerie. And
yeah.
Oh, how do you think this looks? Oh,
well, I mean, I do that when I'm shopping because I'm shopping, for my wife.
If you do not know what that means,
how do you think this will look? You got the right, sort of physique. Would you like something like this? So I do ask, but she just happened to see me the first time and see me the second time and think, this guy is really into details and particulars, and we're looking for an ad agency. Maybe we should call him in. And I swear, like a week later, they became a client of our agency.
Well,
so she had her eyes and ears peeled for what would appeal to her, right? And I just think it's that.
You never know what appeals to people, and you never know what their background is.
Yeah.
So, you kind of have to weed through that and just be yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Just be vulnerable yourself, and the good people will pick that up. But I do think as a group, it would be really great. I like the conversations, but to take some more action.
Yeah.
and that goes to what Thomas said before on a couple of our calls, is that
I said,
when someone says something that is really hits a home run with us and everything, we come back and say, hey, that's really good. We need to pick up on that on the next call. Can we do that? And
Right.
what
that
about
very
the
simple.
pen pal idea I had for elderlies?
Mm-hmm.
That's a good idea. They're like so lonely.
Yeah,
Loneliness is the silent killer.
Mm-hmm.
it is. It is.
I'm going to throw that out again. I thought of that. But anyways, I loved all of your sentiments and Christmas vacation.
Cool.
Now I remember.
Chris, I have to run.
Okay.
I hope you get more people diving in over the next couple of hours.
Yep, we will.
And,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Tom, for being here today. Greatly appreciate you, sir. We'll talk
really good
soon.
to see you too. Really good, and love the puppies. Have
Yeah.
great fun with them.
Yeah, we will have more. Definitely. Absolutely.
All right, I'll talk to you again.
Thank you, Tom.
Bye bye.
Hi, Chris. I'm leaving too.
But like I said, though, I truly believe, though, when we simply do these kind of things that is really deep and meaningful to us all, then we can have a huge impact because of it. And ladies and gentlemen, I kid you not, I'm a firm believer that everything happens for a reason. I do. And I apologize for you guys on LinkedIn. I'm going to have to send a technical issue ticket over to Restream. For some odd rhyme or reason, uh, we're not streaming live on LinkedIn like we should. Why? I don't know, but we'll get that figured out. And I've already made a post for you guys so you guys can join in here on our YouTube channel today. And I apologize for that. But if I was a technical wizard and get that thing up and running, I would do it right now. But I'm not that technically savvy kind of guy. But then again, like I said, I truly believe, ladies and gentlemen, when we do things that is really deep and meaningful, not only to the people that we have that impact on, but also it creates a ripple effect too as well for the people that we're not really doing it even for. And again, it's like to what Tom said earlier about that guy in the checkout lane, which when of course it was self checkout, but the other guy had his card declined or expired for whatever rhyme or reason, but yet he stood up and said, you know what? I am going to step up to the plate here today. I'm going to say, hey, can I buy your groceries right now? Because I see you having an issue with that. And I kid you not, again, it's not about the money, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to stress that far more many times than you probably will see me say this on these broadcasts. I'm not in this for the money. And a lot of us, probably in one way, shape, matter, or form, are not in it for the money either. And this is where I'm going to have to disagree with Joan. With saying about that YouTube guy actually doing his random acts of kindness and then shared it with YouTube. I agree with her. The people shouldn't have to do that, but I'm a believer if you do good things and you do have the good intention behind it. I don't care if YouTube pays you royalties or not. That's not the message that we should be focused on. We should be focused on what is being done by that person in that given moment in time. Because again, we let our preconceived notions and biases in the things in our head that our people are telling us in one way, shape, matter, or form, because they're sharing this onto their YouTube channel. They're not doing good things for good outcomes and doing good work because they're still going to get money at the end of the day of it. And I kid you not, I like I said, I see both sides of the dynamic onto that. Like I said, I understand Jones' point that people shouldn't put out that content uh, on YouTube because it might seem like it's got an ulterior motive in mind that, hey, you got to look at me. It's all about me. And it becomes of a place of selfishness. And like I said just a second ago, I believe it's the other side of that we should be really focused on. We should be focused on the actual deep and meaningful intention behind the act, the inspiration even behind it, and even more importantly, how did that impact the person that was bestowed that opportunity to receive, let's say, that $100 worth of gas, or someone picked up their check at a nice fine dining restaurant, or whatever the case may be. Again, if I do that for someone unselfishly and unabashedly, and I don't want the limelight to kind of say, "Hey, look at Chris, look at me." And a lot of us, I used to be this kind of person myself years ago. I'm saying, hey, they're only doing this to have a spotlight on them because yeah, they wrote a check for $1,000 to pay for someone's rent for a month. But then again, I truly believe sometimes we get lost in the dichotomy of the message behind it. We only see what's being done, but we don't actually see the why behind it, possibly. And then also maybe many other things too as well, that we really don't know what we don't know. And I kid you not, ladies and gentlemen, if we could go beyond that when someone does step up to the plate and say, hey, I'm wanting to do good work, I want to end up uh, creating a ripple effect, I'm wanting to literally create a legacy moment for people. And when you really think about it, when you do acts of kindness for people, it does create a legacy for them and for you as well. And here's why I say that. It's like what Joan and Tom even said before they left, is it's the way you make people feel in that moment of time. They may not remember what you said, they may not even remember what you did and how you did it, but it's the feeling inside of you that really says, my God, this is what Tom did for me. This is what Joan did for me. This is what Shelley did for me. And that speaks volume to when you really think about it at the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen. Someone's character. Now, what does character have to do with kindness? Well, that's a good question, ladies and gentlemen. It really is. The very fabric of being human is woven into so many different ways and times and places in our lives that makes us who we are today, with the experience that we've gone through of this or that or whatever. Life is literally an experience driven journey. Um, and if we're on the experience driven journey, maybe we should recognize of what is being done in that very now moment, not because of fame or fortune or the notoriety or the how many clicks that you can get, or how many likes that you can get, or whatever. And I'm going to be completely honest, ladies and gentlemen. Myself and bringing humanity together is not in it for the clicks or the likes or the shares or whatever that might be. That's all well and good, because if people do share our content, that means something for somebody in one way, shape, matter, or form, because that strikes a chord within their heart of hearts. That strikes probably a nerve for them, that something has resonated with them to such a degree, they will share that with people that they know. Hey, did you see what Joe did here? Or even better yet, I even take it to a business side of dynamic, and this is what just hits me like a ton of bricks. Think about this too, as well, ladies and gentlemen. For those business owners, leaders, entrepreneurs out there, this is going to be for you guys. I truly believe that we can share that great act of kindness with people, even when people don't think that they are being seen or even acknowledged for that great act of kindness. And here's where I'm going to go with this. For those people who, of course, got security cameras in their establishments and out in the, around their building too, as well, and that kind of thing. Like Tom said, there are a million acts of kindness that's being done each and every single day. Now, for those business owners, entrepreneurs, leaders in business, managers, even team members and partners in a business, whatever that might be, I'm going to put a call to action out to each and every single one of you today and say, go back and maybe your recordings, because I know a lot of people have the capability to record it like a DVR. You can set so many days back that you can actually go back and see what someone was done and that kind of thing. And I know this for a fact, because in my days being in the restaurant business for over 40 years, um, when someone gets a good review, they want to see that. And I've seen managers and leaders alike have done this, is they will go back through the security footage of hearing from what that customer or guest has said, and they will actually see that thing being played out. They will capture that, and they will send it to their corporate higher up and that kind of thing, and say, hey, this is what one of our partners here in our store did. What do you think about this? And that will be my call to action to each and every single one of you today. Even if you don't even own a business and you just have maybe a security camera or whatever throughout your home or whatever that might be, maybe again, find that one act that you may see and share it. Granted, don't make it about the clicks. Don't make it about the likes. Don't make it about how many people can comment on it and everything like that. But still, like I said before, that's all well and good, because people naturally will do that. But share these things that is going to create a legacy, not only for the person that was bestowed upon that great gift of kindness, but the actual one person or maybe group of people who actually gave that gift of kindness to that very group of people, that singular person, or whatever that may have been. Because I'm a firm believer, ladies and gentlemen, the very act of giving is in the very act of receiving. It is already there. And once we recognize it as such and really understand that it's going to be there in and of itself, you know what's going to happen? people are going to talk. People are going to say, hey, why did Tom do this the other day? Well, because he wanted to do that. And I kid you not, we've seen it far too many times that we can count on social media, whether it be on Facebook or YouTube, TikTok, or whatever, that we see literally cars in a drive-through, and you see them, hey, your meal's paid, your drink is paid, your drink is paid, your drink is paid. But no one's really doing that for the recognition of it. They're doing that because, again, like I said before, they want to do it because it's the intention behind it and the reason behind it. Because I'm going to ask each and every single one of you today, are we genuine? Like I said earlier, are we genuine with our act of kindness? Do we actually want to really help those that we see an opportunity to help them? Not because of fame and fortune or notoriety or getting paid by a YouTube ad or whatever, but we're actually doing that because we want to have an impact on someone's life. Now, this is what I was taught by my father at a very young age. He said, Chris, when you do stuff, no matter if people see you or not, you got your put your name on everything that you do. Well, how do we put our name on something as simple as an act of kindness? The way I see it, ladies and gentlemen, the way that we can put our name onto that act of kindness, which is, again, a gift in and of itself, is we should just be willing to show up. And I kid you not, ladies and gentlemen, showing up matters. It really does. Because if we, as people, for whatever rhyme or reason, don't show up, the gift of that kindness that we bestow upon Bill or Susie or Betty or whoever that might be, they may never, I won't say never, but they, in maybe that now moment, may not get that act of kindness that maybe can truly transform their lives. And the reason why I'm going down this road of transformation is because I truly believe an act of kindness can transform us and also those people we give that act of kindness to. It's very transformative because, again, like I said before, sometimes people just do things because it's in a place of the transaction. Hey, I got to open this door for somebody because it's something that we all do. Or I help out my team member by getting this deadline done, and I'll finish up the proposal, bing, bang, boom, and it's done. And I'll let them take all the credit for it. Now, that's all well and good that you allow others to take the credit for something maybe you have done, and that's, to me, one of the most selfless things that we can do. But I kid you not, ladies and gentlemen, selflessness and intention, in my view, are interconnected, and here's why. When we are truly intentional and truly selfless, and we're not selfish for ourselves, we're not doing it to make ourselves bigger than what we are, or we're looking to have an ulterior motive in mind, but we're genuinely wanting to do something for someone in a way that, again, is going to create opportunity, it's going to create a buzz, it's going to have people in one way, shape, matter, or form say, you know what, we got to do something with this. And again, when enough people get behind a cause or a mission or a vision of something, that matters. And I truly believe when we, again, can get out of our own way, and we just are willing to show up, and even say this too as well. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to put this other call to action out to each and every single one of you today. Just say yes, and here's why. If you're willing to say yes to not only kindness, but you're willing to say yes to the opportunity, you're willing to say yes to I'm going to show up, I'm willing to say yes to not only giving of a gift, but maybe even receiving one in return. And again, I say yes to no expectation. Again, I truly believe if we do the things that we do from a place of not even having expectation in our lives at all, I truly believe the more that you give and you don't expect anything in return, you actually get far more in return than you can even possibly fathom to imagine. And you do it, again, unselfishly. And like I said earlier, I truly believe in this. I truly believe that if you become so selfish for others, that you will become more unselfish for yourself. I just truly believe that that's there. But then the question then becomes, do we truly want to become unselfish for ourselves? Or do we have to have, in one way, shape, matter, or form, that little bit of selfishness? And I kid you not, and I'm going to be completely honest, ladies and gentlemen, a little selfishness, maybe for some people, may be okay, but not for me, and here's why. I used to be very selfish. I really was. At a very, 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 very young age, until I was probably maybe in my 20s, I was really selfish just for only me. I could care less about anybody else. Wouldn't blink and bat an eye of not helping out somebody else, because if it's not helping me, why do I need to help out them? It was just that simple for me. But I kid you not, ladies and gentlemen, I came to realize, probably after I turned like 22 or so, is if I really give of myself unconditionally and freely, and I don't expect anything in return, I will get whatever is coming back to me in far more greater significance, like I said again, that I can't even possibly fathom to imagine. Because for me, I was willing to let go of that selfishness, because I felt in my heart of hearts that being selfish gets to a point of greed. And yes, I'm going to be kind of ironic here for a moment. And yes, I have to bring Star Wars into this. And again, I have to go back to what Master Yoda said. He said, fear is the path to the dark side. Anger, anger leads to fear. Fear leads to hate. Hate leads to suffering. And when you really think about it, greed has a part in that dark side dynamic, because greed does have a component of selfishness in it, does it not? Because again, if you get so caught up in you, and it's like the old adage, and I truly believe it's true, ladies and gentlemen, sometimes we can't see the forest before the trees. So that's the thing that I truly believe, ladies and gentlemen, that we really should ask of ourselves. Can I let go of selfishness and become unselfish? Don't let hate or anger or greed or those things that would kind of hold me back from doing the things that I know is going to create an impact on people. And again, I don't expect anything in return, but if I'm willing to do that, I truly believe that we all become better for it. And once we become better day by day, minute by minute, month by month, hour by hour, that we are doing those very simple things day in and day out, and we don't expect anyone else to shout our names or put a spotlight on us or whatever the case may be, but they just know that we're doing what we're doing because either we're called to do it, we have been passion driven to do what we do. And again, think about it. When someone sees a need and sees an opportunity, sometimes more often than not, we find a solution not only to maybe, I won't say it's a problem, but we find a way to solve that issue for whatever that issue may arise to become and say, you know what, we're going to do this. And I'm a firm believer, ladies and gentlemen, once you see something that you are so driven to do, you will do it no matter at what cost, whether it be money, whether it be time, whether it be a lot of things. Because when you really think about it, at the end of the day, there's always an opportunity cost that we actually, in one way, shape, matter, or form, that we have to kind of pay. It's like, it's the old dichotomy. Do you want to trade time for money, or do you want to trade money for time? And that's an old question that's been said for probably hundreds and hundreds of years. But then the question then becomes, do you want to trade that kindness for notoriety? Do you want to trade that kindness for being recognized and being put on a pedestal that you gave $10 million for this, that, or the other? And again, I'm not saying giving money is a bad thing. Far from it. It's about, again, the intention and the act behind what we do, and even the message that matters most. Because again, sometimes it takes money to not only make money, but the more money you have, the more impact that you can actually have with that. And again, I'm a firm believer, some of the greatest things that we can do in life doesn't even take 1 cent at all to do. Don't even take $1. Don't even take $10 million. It just takes you intentionally, again, willing to show up. And again, when we are willing to do that, I truly believe, again, that's one of the great things. So I would love to hear from all of you today. I know we're coming up on the 3 o'clock hour right now. I know like I said, we've had some issues on our LinkedIn platform. Like I said, I'm going to reach out to our uh, partner in Restream and send them a technical issue message. Say, hey, I didn't go live on LinkedIn. A lot of my LinkedIn community didn't get to see this. But what I'm wanting to do is, since this is on our YouTube channel, what I'm going to do is probably download or reshare the stream uh, for everyone, and they can go back and watch it. So if you want to join the call, like I said, there was the link. Uh, that's the link. And if you guys are actually in the chat now on YouTube, and I know there's like a couple people watching. If you guys are still watching, uh, we would love to hear from you. So please in the chat, tell us where you're from, what's been coming up for you, and everything. And and if you want to join the broadcast, we would love to have you. If not, I was going to stay till 4, but if there's no one that's going to hop on, um, we probably will close it down here in the next 10 minutes and go from there because I got some stuff I got to do anyways. I got to get ready from getting set up for dinner tonight. I make chicken and rice, so I got that kind of set up and ready to go. So all I have to do is just put it on, and it'll be made. And actually, the more I think about it, I should have actually bought more chicken than what I got because it was Italian done, and the way that they had that, I should have baked it, but I grilled it and baked it at the same time. But I truly believe it's going to still be a great dish in and of itself. But like I said, I really want to do these conversations with each and every single one of you, and we here at Bring Humanity Together love a conversation that's not only truly engaging, but it's based in intention, based in inspiration, and based in impact. Because I truly believe, and we truly believe here at Bring Humanity Together, that a conversation not only calls us to act, it calls us to connect, calls us to collaborate, build out something great in deep and meaningful ways, and creates a sense of community, again, that's based in unity. But like I said, that's what these calls are really meant to do. And like I said, I truly believe when people are willing to step up to the plate, willing to show up, willing just to do that very simple, it could be just that one thing. And this is another call to action that I will put out to each and every single one of you today. Here's my other call to action to each and every single one of you. Whoever is watching this live stream or even on the replay, this is my call to action for each and every single one of you. Can you go not only do one simple act from now until next Friday, but also can you actually go out and intentionally share someone else's simple act of kindness too as well? And you can do that in so many different ways. You can actually go up to, just like with Tom, hey, that was a great thing. What you did in the kiosk for that guy, bought his groceries, bam, that was a great thing. Didn't really draw too much attention, but at least you make the acknowledgement to be known and everything like that. And and again, if you guys want to share it on social media, share it on social media. I have no problem with that because I truly believe once we're inspired enough to share something that we really are in alignment and maybe in agreement with, and it really, again, hits us in our heart of hearts, then sometimes we just have to share. We share not only what we love, ladies and gentlemen, but sometimes we share what we hate too as well, just as much. And I'd rather be on the power of positivity and power of possibility side of things, not necessarily showing the dark side of humanity in and of itself. It's like what Joan said earlier about sometimes people do not want to do good deeds because they're afraid to do that. They feel like whatever. But that'll be my other call to action to every single one of you. Can you do one act of kindness between now and next Friday? And can you see that next one act of kindness from now to next Friday? And we would love to hear from you. And if you, for those who are on our LinkedIn platform, put it in the chat on the repost that we'll do. We would love to hear from you on that. And those watching on YouTube, we would love to hear from you too as well. Put it in the chat stream or when you watch this on a replay. We would love to hear from you as well. And we would love for you to be a part of our great and growing community here, bringing humanity together. We really do. Because, like I said, these conversations really mean something, I'm sure, to a lot of people. It creates not only connectiveness, but it creates a sense of belonging. It creates a sense of honoring those people who do those very small things that adds up in value. And again, I truly believe in this, ladies and gentlemen. We truly do here as well at Bring Humanity Together, that the next currency of humanity is going to be rooted in value and not money. And that's another thing that I want to bring to the table too as well. Do we see the value of kindness? I'm going to put that out there as a question for all of you today. Do we see the true value of kindness with people? Do we actually see that? And sometimes do we even hear it? Because sometimes when someone does share something with somebody, they say, hey, there was this great act of kindness. And I know we get caught up in our day, we get caught up in what's being done at work or whatever the case may be. Sometimes it goes in one ear and out the other. We're only human. But do we actually hear that powerful act of kindness? Do we actually take that in and see the value in that? And I truly believe that's a question that we should ask of you guys next week. What do you see the value of kindness and everything? So uh, we got 4 minutes until the top of the hour. But like I said, if no one's going to end up joining up the call, I'm going to check our LinkedIn page to see if anyone has commented. Because like I said, I actually had to end up doing a whole new post, and I don't see anyone coming to the call. So we may end up, just like I said, closing the stream down at 3 o'clock. Like I said, I got stuff I got to end up doing anyways because my wife's going to get off work and we got to do dinner and that kind of thing. And we're probably going to do something for over the weekend. So we got to plan that out. But like I said, I want to hear from all of you. And like I said, I'll be reposting this to our LinkedIn community. Probably if not tomorrow, it'll be definitely by Monday. Uh, but we will love to hear from all of you. We really will. Love to hear from you guys. We would love to get engaged with you. Please let us know where not only you watched us from today, um, but where in the world do you see those random acts of kindness? Is it in the grocery store? Is it in the bank? Is it wherever? We love to hear those stories and everything. So we would love to hear from all of you. And again, these calls are meant for each and every single one of you. I can't stress that enough. Actually, I get a thrill of having a conversation with somebody that is, like I said, so deep and so meaningful. Again, I would love to get to know who people really are. And when you really think about it, at the end of the day, that's the question that we should ask ourselves. It's not what we do, it's who we are. Because and again, well, I'm sure we've always asked that to each and every single one of us at one time or another. Is we always ask that very question, and it's literally repetitive by very nature, and I don't know why it is, but maybe we need to flip the script and flip the switch on that to where say, hey, I want to know who you are. I want to know what you're all about and everything. So, like I said, I truly believe in that. I really do. Because, like I said, if we get to know who people are, what we do in and of itself, ladies and gentlemen, it's a natural byproduct effect, and that's what it really is, down and deep, in and of itself. So again, like I said, I believe in these kind of conversations because if you get everyone's perspective in there and get to a place of unity in it in one way, shape, matter, or form. That's the goal. And it's like I said to many different people and at many different times, I truly believe in this. I don't care how you start the race. I don't care how you finish the race. I don't even care if you show up. I truly, again, believe showing up matters, because if you don't show up, you won't not only stand in, which I surely believe is actually the more important thing to really understand and recognize. Because again, we always say you got to always stand out. You got to be above the crowd, above the fray. No, I don't believe in that. I truly believe for you to really stand out, you do stand in with people, because you're no different than the leader of an organization. You're no different than the guy who's working at the grocery store. You're no different of a president of a bank. We're all human by very definition. We just have different levels of not only of what we do and what we know, but also what we do with what we know from a place of kindness, authenticity, vulnerability, and everything in between. So, again, everyone, thank you so much for joining our BHT live event today. We want to hear from all of you. Like I said, this will be on the replay on LinkedIn. I don't know if it's going to be a live version of it, or we just send the link out and everyone can go watch it later. Because, like I said, I'm going to have to send a technical issue ticket to Restream and tell them, say, hey, we wasn't live on our YouTube, not YouTube channel, but our LinkedIn channel today, and we got to get that fixed. So again, thank you all for taking time out of your day to engage with us today. We greatly appreciate you guys, and thank you to Tom, and thank you to Shelly, and thank you for those people who tried to join today. Like I know Lady Drew was trying to get on, maybe she had some issues too as well. But we greatly appreciate you guys taking the time out of your day to join in. There will be more of these calls coming down the pipe, so to speak, in the near future. So please, if you're on LinkedIn, please follow my page, which is Chris Berryman, uh, and then follow our other page, which is our business page. It'd probably be the easier one to do, at Bringing Humanity Together. Well, if you're on our YouTube channel, follow other two pages. We have Bringing Humanity Together and also Conversations for Humanity with Chris Berryman. That will change its name here down the road too as well. So please follow us there. And you guys have a fantastic Friday. Make it your day on this great and amazing day. Can't believe already it's the second day of May. It just seemed like it was just yesterday, the start of the year, where the time has gone. So again, like I said, I greatly appreciate you guys. You guys have an amazing weekend. Make it your weekend. And I will say this: go see the Thunderbolts. I'm going to see the Thunderbolts this weekend. I think it's going to be a good movie. And we may end up getting into a movie thing down the line too. So that might be something you might want to check out, because I'll be bringing some other stuff into the dynamic of culture, movies, and all that kind of stuff. So that's going to come soon down the down the road too as well. So you guys have a great day. Make your day. Have a fantastic Friday. Like I said, please follow our page, not only at Bringing Humanity Together on LinkedIn, and also our YouTube page, which is Bringing Humanity Together. Follow my page, which of course Chris Berryman, and everything. And we would love to see you on the next call. So you guys have a great day. Make your day on this fantastic Friday.